Hopefully that works. Okay, cool. Okay, I am going to pull up the slide. Jenny, hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Good.
Good. Okay, so, okay, I'm gonna get started because I know people are hopping on. I think it's like making me have to let people join. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I wanted to just kind of take time to go back through this. Oh, hi, Nick. And be able to talk about your touch programs. And actually, I know, Ashley, I think I'm sharing one of y'all's things in here too. But I wanted to start with this. The purpose of a business is to create a customer who creates customers. And this is one of the things I always share whenever I talk about database or touch programs, because the reality is the purpose of our touch program is to touch people so that we're top of mind, we're TOMA to them, we're top of mind awareness. And then when they get to that point that they're either going to list or buy a home, you're the first person that they think of. Or when they hear somebody who's getting ready to list or buy a home, you're the first person that they think of, so that you can, so that they will refer, right? So I just think I want you to like get your mindset around, oh my gosh, is that Shelby?
Really fast.
Let me see. Jenny got a new dog. Oh my gosh. She's already gotten big.
She's a monster.
Nick, is she good, girl?
Sometimes we call her land shark.
We call her the land shark, yeah. So, anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to, I just had to show you because she came in to see me.
Love it. I'm glad that you did. So cute. I want like 10, but Adam says no. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. First, I want to talk really quickly about your data bank, right? Because it's not your database, it's your data bank. Your data bank is your business. Building up the number of names in it and the relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about. And so think of it this way: the size of your real estate sales business will be in the direct proportion to the size of and quality of your data bank. And Ashley, I'm going to pick on y'all for a couple of minutes on here, because Troy told me this morning that your coach helped you figure out how much your database is actually worth money-wise. Did I lose you?
Yeah, she just went backwards to see, like, she took the number of deals we got from our database, and then we ran through commissions and looked to see what our GCI was off of our database.
How much was it?
It was over 800.
Yeah. So I think it's really important. Thanks for sharing that, because when he said that this morning, I was like, man, I need to make sure I tell people to put that in the class today, because if you think about it that way, it's all in direct proportion to your database, your data bank. The best in the industry never allow their lead generation systems to fall prey to the ebbs and flows of the enthusiasm or the market. Their lead generation goes into their calendar and it's faithfully kept. This is just a little bit to talk about lead gen, because I want to start with that, because lead follow-up technically is a realtor's biggest dilemma. And that's where we get into touch programs. So many of you have seen this, but I want to walk you through it one more time. So if you look at this drawing, the $sign is the day that you have a closing, right? That's the day that you actually earn commission. This dotted little dashed line is the time that the buyer or seller has decided that they're going to make a decision to buy or sell a home. And then this line over on the left, everything to the left of that is lead generation. So you can see where the biggest time spent to get money to get to your closing is in the follow-up, which has to do with your touch systems, because the time between this little dashed line when they make the decision and closing is usually roughly like between 60, I think in the 60 to 90 or 60 to 120 days. It's not very long, but we know that actually you can look at this next graph. This first little dot, that's your closing day. So say you have a closing and you make 10 grand. The very next dot at the very bottom, that's the very next day. That's the day after closing. So this is in relation to when you're going to make money from those people again. The time span between when they have a closing and when they're actually going to buy or sell the next time is between 3 to 7 years. So all these dashed little lines to get back up to that next dot right here where you can make money off of them again, those are all the times that you have to touch them, which is why these touch plans are so important. So before we talk touch systems, we need to talk about your database. And so I have two things I want to make sure that I share with you, because I like to give you like actual things that you can take and create for yourself and use. So the first one is something called an opening ceremony sheet. And this is from a lady named Terry Morler, who runs the Morler. I never can say her name right. She's actually one of Linda McKissick's very best friends. They've been in the business the same amount of time. They knew each other pre-Keller Williams days. So she created what's called the opening ceremony. This is a sheet that completely changed her business. I want to say she does around 40-ish million in Florida. She's been in the business, I want to say close to maybe 30 years. And has never bought leads. Everything she does is strictly from her database. Her business is 100% repeat referral sphere. She's the one, some of you guys, we interviewed her on our podcast a while back, so you might have heard that. She's the one that we talk about. She has a system around Facebook stalking her clients, and she sends like a card with a tooth on it with a $2 bill when her clients' kids lose a tooth from Facebook and all that stuff. So she created what's called the opening ceremony. If you do not have something like this is where it has to start before we get into touch systems. So every single person that they come in contact with client-wise, they have them fill this sheet out. They have it in a Google form, I believe, so it just goes when they're meeting in person, obviously they would get them to fill this out then, but they also have it as a editable PDF and also a Google form. So it's basically you're finding out as much information about them as you can. A couple of really important ones to point out are obviously, their birthday, their spouse's birthday, their wedding anniversary. Their employer is a big one, because remember, and we're going to talk about this at the end, but as much as you can help somebody with their business, the more they're going to help you with your business. Obviously, their children's names and birthdays, their pets. I know an agent in Lexington who is so good. She sends like this little dog birthday bone. It's so super cute. It sounds crazy, but it's really cute, to all of her clients who went for their dogs' birthdays. And then she does the birthday cards for their kids with like a free scoop from Baskin Robbins for the kids. But anyway, so figuring out how you can get this information from people is what's most important, and get as much as you possibly can. So their favorite restaurant, their favorite type of wine, their favorite plant, hobbies, desserts, books, any of that stuff. Another really easy way to figure this out is to send a survey. So if you already have a database, but you don't have a lot of that information, I would encourage you to start with all your new people with something like this opening ceremony, but then go back and you can send a Survey Monkey or something really easy, a Google, like a Google survey. I'm blanking on the name. This is one that I've saved. I save all this stuff for years. Like I think I got this from Tara Long in Lexington probably like 7 years ago. But she did an all about you, and she just did a quick little survey, and she sent it to everybody in her database, and she did giveaways. And she just was trying to get as much information as she could. This is when she started to get their pets' names and birthdays. And then she added the how can I support your business. So this is the first step. You've got to make sure that you're getting as much data about your database as you possibly can. Now here are some touch system ideas. And but here's the thing, you have to choose what you're actually going to follow through with, okay? So only choose what you're going to follow through with. So here's the standard 36 touch. So first, before we go on to steroids, the standard 36 touch is what most agents, they don't even master this. And I struggled with this for years, and honestly, we still do. But the standard 36 touch is you're going to call everybody in your database 4 times a year. So if you do that once a quarter, but here's the thing about the 4 times. 2 times you're asking for business, and 2 times you're not asking for business. You're literally just doing just a touch. So like right now, how we've been encouraging everybody to make their care calls to your clients, to just, hey, I know that we're in the middle of a crazy pandemic, and I just want to check on you and make sure you're okay. Like that is I'm obviously not going to ask you for business right now. That's just a touch. That's just a, hey, let me check on you. Then 2 client event parties or gatherings a year. Those are going to have to look a little different with current circumstances. Then 4 promotional items of value. So remember, a promotional item of value, like for us, was a Kentucky basketball schedule magnet, or football schedule magnet, some sort of promotional item of value, and then 26 email touches. So an email touch bi-weekly. Here's the biggest thing that I want to talk to you about these email touches. And I want to also do like a couple of caveats here. So two things. Sorry, I hear Adam on a Zoom outside too. Will you shut the door, please? Thank you. So two things about this that I want to touch. Tony DeCello always says, when you're sending emails and you're doing your biweekly touches, do not just pass information. You have to be the interpreter of the information for them. Because if you send something to your clients and you say the average DOM is 16 right now in Kentucky, well, they have no clue what that means. They don't know that DOM stands for days on the market. Or if you say, have you seen the inflation and here's what's going on, or here's the interest rate is blah, blah, blah. Guys, they don't know. They're not the expert. We are. And so you can't just be a pass through. You have to interpret the information. The second thing I'll say is I would challenge this email thing right now. And I would challenge you to get really serious about direct mail. And the reason why is because people are at home now more than they ever have been before. And so when I listened to Gary's top 200 in the company, every single one of them said that they have gotten back to direct mail. I used to have a ton of success. Like when I had my best year ever in real estate, me with one person, and we did 18 million that year, I direct mailed the fire out of people. And we kind of got away from that, honestly. We went a lot more to emails, and we upped our client events, which was great. But we kind of stopped. I don't even know why. Sarah and I were trying to figure this out last week. I don't even know why, but we stopped doing a lot of direct mail. And honestly, I think that was a detriment to our business. And so right now people are at home, and I'm going to give you a couple of ideas around some direct mail pieces that I think are great. So that's the standard 36 touch. Okay. So if you're just doing these are old, this is my old logo, but I just want to give you an example. Because I know we have different levels of production on here, and people that will watch will be different levels too. If you have like just started in this, I would encourage you to just get a calendar. This is like old school. I just like to have a visual of things. Let me show you this really fast. I would encourage you to get a calendar, print out a 12-month calendar, and just pre-write on there, or if you have an assistant or an admin or ops manager, have them do this, what day and what you're going to do to touch your people. This is like the most basic, simple way to follow it and to start and to just stick with it. So if you know that you're going to have a MailChimp newsletter go out once a month, when's it going to go out? If you know that you're going to do a sensations postcard, we used to do those, we don't do those anymore. What day is it going to go out? And then what are the ways that you're going to touch? Like we used to say, whenever there was a highlighted holiday, we did some sort of a social media post. This would be an example. If you're going to do a touch to your person, referrals are the heart of our business, was something we always do in February, and we mail those little boxes of hearts. But you need to know, like, what day are you mailing those out? And then, okay, Q1, here's when we're going to have a call day, and we're going to call our database on this day, whether it's you as an individual or your whole team. So this is like basic where I would start. Just get it on paper and plan it out and have a plan, because if you don't, then likely you're probably not going to follow that. So you need to get a plan. This actually, I think, Ashley, this was one I stole from y'all from last year as just a 36 touch, but I like the visual of the full calendar. I'm sure that probably Troy liked the simplicity of having this just like this. But whatever works for you, just do it. But here's what you know that you're going to do every single month to be able to do that. So if you haven't gotten your basic 36 touchdown, like that's where you have to start. Okay, now then let's talk about what would it look like to be on steroids. So every person who Gary Keller put on the Zoom to speak and share with us from the top 200 in the company, none of them had a 36 touch. Every one of them had more than the 36 touch plan, and they were like psycho regimented with it. The average, Gary shared with us that I think it was the average of everyone's touch systems was 52. So almost out of all of that group, they were averaging touching their database 52 times, which really, to me, I was like kind of blown away by that, because I don't know about you guys, but I think it's hard to commit to 36. So even more than that. But the reality is that that's why they're the top. So this is one that I want to share, and I really would love y'all's feedback on this. Well, first of all, let me back up. Are any of you like consistently doing a true 36 touch that you're like, you've never missed one of the 36 touches and you're really doing it at a high level? Jenny, do y'all?
We're not great at the calls, but I would say, I mean, we do direct mail every single month. We do a bi-weekly email. We do client events.
Yeah. Do you have it all planned out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lauren was really good at that. And so the new Lauren has that system. So I feel like we just lack in that whole, the database touch, the actual calls. That's,
yeah.
We're sporadic with it.
Yeah, that's most people's also. I know that you're muted, but I see that you're on. Renee, are you able to share, do you guys follow a true 36 touch for Robin?
We don't do the phone calls, but we do pretty much everything else.
Do you have a solid calendar of when you mail and when you touch and all that?
In my head.
But you guys probably touch 36 times, right? You probably touch more than that, honestly.
Yeah, kind of, sort of, yeah. It just depends.
Okay.
No, I try to do it by quarter. I try to figure out per quarter what we're going to do and when.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So here is, this honestly, guys, this is the best one that I've seen. And out of everybody who shared, this was the one that resonated with me the most. This is Thomas and Kristen Schramer. I'll have to look up their last name, out of San Antonio. And they said they worked 3 years to make this like the perfect touch system and plan that it is. And some of these are just, I mean, it's just really, really good. So they developed 2 things though. And this is what I really hope that you guys get, because this was, for me, this was the biggest value that I got from this. They do a separate touch the first year that someone becomes their client, or that someone gets in their database. And then from year 2 on, it changes. So the first year, they actually are touching them 66 times. After year 1, it goes to 50 touches. Now they do have VIP clients. So that would be like their core 100 clients, or their core 25, or their core 50, or whatever that is for y'all. And those are people who, I believe they said, give them 10 or more referrals in a year would be their actual like VIP, which that's a high standard, honestly, but they're touching them a lot more. So just to kind of go down through some of these that they shared with us, I thought were really good. So number 1 is right after closing, they email a testimonial request emailed. So what they said is that they'll have them, they kind of alternate, because this was a question that I actually asked Thomas, because I don't know if you guys feel this way, but sometimes I think it's like, do we have them give the review on Zillow? Do we have them do it on our Facebook page? Do we have them just email it to us? Like, what do we need to do? They said that they get it emailed. They'll send them a couple of links, but they'll say the most important is if you wouldn't care to email me back the testimonial. And then if you have additional time, it would mean a lot to us if you just took 2 minutes and clicked on these links and copied and pasted it into the links. Because obviously that's not something that you as an agent or as a team can go and give yourself reviews on your own Facebook and Zillow. But they said their most important part of that was they wanted to get the actual email with them sending it back, because then they use it on their websites, on their marketing materials, and all that stuff. They do a week after closing call from the agent. Then they do a month after closing call with the agent. And I mean, those to me are the ones that we all probably have an area of opportunity in. But they said it makes the biggest difference because it's fresh on their mind. 3 agent check-ins per year. So every 4 months, the agent that did the transaction is calling and checking in with them. And he said that they create Google Calendar like invites or whatever, and they already have it in their phone. So it's part of the closing checklist that then the team or the agent, if you're an individual agent, you would just go in and say, okay, every 4 months for the next year, I'm going to just put it in my calendar right now as part of my closing checklist to just call them and check in. They do a 3-month client care call. The agent doesn't do, if you're an individual agent, you would do that. Or if you have an administrative assistant, they would do that. But usually someone on the team, not the agent, is just calling and saying, hey, we're just here to check in. This is the part that I loved, and I'm going to talk about this at the end, but they do a donation certificate mailed because every single thing that they do ties to a charity, literally every single thing that they do. And I'm going to talk about this later, like I said, but it was crazy to me to hear how much, I mean, all of these top agents, their one thing is they're tied to a bigger why. I mean, they really are. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But what they do with this is so cool. So they wait, and he said that they do it around the 3-month-ish mark. They have a certificate printed out and they have it matted and framed. He said that it's like less than $20 at Hobby Lobby, less than $25 at Hobby Lobby. And they have the certificate with their logo, with their client's name really big, the logo of the charity. And it says like, thank you, a donation has been made in your name to blank for blank, like whatever their system is that I don't know if it's a percentage or if it was like a flat dollar amount that they donate to the charity. But like we've done that before, but we've never actually done this part, which is like probably the most important part, which is tying it back into your client and letting them know that you made a donation from their transaction in their name, which I thought was really great. Kristen and Thomas said that is one of the, if they had to pick like one of the top 3 things that's made a difference in their business, they said that it was that was one of the top 3 things. They do 12 reaching neighbor mailers. They do a birthday video. He shared with us what that birthday video looks like, and it's on their YouTube, I'm pretty sure. I think that's where he pulled it. But basically they had their videographer come and make one birthday video, and it's like birthday music playing, and they're like blowing the birthday horns, and they have birthday hats on, and they're holding up like happy birthday signs, and it's happy birthday is playing while they're kind of like dancing around in a really cute kitchen. And then each team, then it just goes through each team member, and they're like, we want to wish you a very happy, most blessed birthday today. And then at the end, it's like, happy birthday. So they don't do an individual happy birthday, whatever, like happy birthday, Jenny, happy birthday, Jason, happy birthday, Renee. They just have one blanketed one. They have it as a system, and it just goes out. Now they also have, I think, over 18,000 people in their database or something crazy. So he just said, realistically, there's just no way that we can individually do a happy birthday video. So this has been the next best thing. But it was cool because he said that every year they change the video. So they do a really like cool, fun new video every single year, and that's their video for the year. And I thought that is so good. Oh, Lisa. Hey, Lisa, I didn't know you're on. Dana, what percentage do they use for the donation? Is it based on the purchase price? So that's a really great question. And each of them kind of did something different. Some of them did a flat, like every transaction we donate $250. Some of them said every transaction we donate X%. They didn't get super specific on what that was, but they did say that whatever they do, that they are consistent with. So I would say, do the math on your average sales price. I mean, if you're on your average sales price, get your average commission. I mean, if your average commission is, I don't know, say $6,000 and you did 5%, that's $300. So I would just maybe do the math and see, 1, what you're comfortable with, and then 2, just stay consistent with it. I mean, we just always did $250 out of every transaction because that was the number we felt comfortable with. But I think you can do whatever. You're welcome. Okay, and then they do a 1-year anniversary card. That's kind of an easy peasy. Christmas card, same thing. 18 yearly email blast, and they did talk about how they interpret. They don't just like pass through the information. A fire safety letter mailed. This was something, I don't know if you guys ever done that. I've never done anything around fire safety. And they said that they got this from, I'm trying to remember where he got this from. Maybe Tony DeSolo. I don't know. I can't remember. But for whatever reason, this was a big one that they said that they got, like got a lot of great feedback from. They do, their transaction coordinator does a 9-month call. They do a 1-year anniversary call from the agent. 4 person, now this gets into more of their 36 touch. 4 personal event invites, 4 evites to yearly client events, 4 VIP gifts at startup and at events, 2 client invites mailed. So that's all around their client appreciation events or their client events. They do 1 power hours call minimum, homestead exemption letter, and then a 6-month call by the listing coordinator. So then this is what they said at the bottom. This is the important part. Additional touches come in referral gifts for clients who refer. From the heart gifts to client, I think that might be the name of one of their teams, who have recently celebrated an accomplishment, etc., and pop by gifts for 280 plus hand selected clients per year. So basically they get purposeful with this stuff. Okay, let me go back. What's the difference between, no, if you have a question, everyone probably does. Number 4 and number 5. Number 4 are 3 agent check-ins per year. So they go ahead and put in their calendar every 4 months. They're just gonna call and check in and say, hey, how's the house? Probably like a check-in on the house. And then number 5, the 3-month client care call. Oh, and let me back up. The agent did the calls if you had a team, or if you have a team. The agent did the 3 agent check-in calls. The 3-month client care call usually came from an administrative role on the team. It wasn't necessarily the agent. It was just to like let them know from the team's behalf that someone was calling. And they actually say we do client care calls, and we're simply just calling to check in and see if there's anything that you need right now. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. So at the bottom, they go back, and I want to touch base on this one more time. They actually have a system around the pop-by gifts for their core 280. Like those are, I would assume, maybe just their top core clients. But they do hand-selected client gifts to them per year based on that. So an example of that would be, I used this the other day. If you had a client who like loved their dog, you might think, oh my gosh, let me go get a picture of their dog, and you can order like those pup socks, like a pair of socks with their dog on it, and they're like $10. I mean, so you're not spending like a ton of money. You're just getting purposeful with something that you know would be meaningful to them. That's just like a, hey, congratulations on, you know, whatever, we saw that you blah, 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 blah. Like, I'll be honest, we're doing something right now in the offices, in our 2 offices of consultants and legacy group. We asked everybody who had a child who graduated this year, and we're putting together like just little touches to send to the agents' kids who graduated, because this was a really weird year for graduation. So like some of these people didn't get to walk like normal, or their families had to watch them on Zoom, you know, get their diploma of college or of high school. So think about just, you have to be purposeful with this. You have to be really purposeful. And honestly, some people are better than this than others are. So if this isn't like a natural tendency to you, or like a natural gift, or something that you're passionate about, I would find somebody who is, so that you can be purposeful with it. Because the key is you want to be intentional and you want to be purposeful, because those are the things that they'll remember. And then, and honestly, I will, let me think of what the best way to do this is. If you want the slides, just email me, and I'll send you all of this stuff. Heather was going to be on, but I don't think that she's on. So I'll send you, we'll just forward you, not Heather Kuykendall. Hi, Heather, by the way. We'll send you guys all the stuff if you want it. And then year 2 is just basically a little bit different. It's just obviously not as many touches, and not as much of like you don't need the testimonial, you don't need the week after closing, you know, all that type stuff. So I want to show you a couple of examples. This I have completely ripped off and duplicated, and ours is going out. Okay, yes, Patty, I will send you these. Or actually, that's a great idea. Just put your email in the chat, and if you want to have the copies of this stuff, and I'll save the chat and send this stuff to you. So this is an agent who is a friend of mine. Jenny, you know her, Jen McConnell, in Charleston, and I just completely ripped off and duplicated her newsletter, because she's having a lot of success right now, and she's gotten back to direct mailing a ton, but you can see how she just brings a lot of value. So, okay, so this is the front. So basically, actually, let me just show you this really fast, and then I'll go back. Okay, so it's just a piece of cardstock, and she just tri-folds it. So this is the front, and it was like little sticky things at the bottom. And then this is, and I'll show you these up close, but then she has the newsletter inside, and then this is the back. And so they just are handwriting, because she said that she's really getting back. When I talked to her about this, she said she's really getting back to being like purposeful, because everyone's at home looking for like handwritten stuff in the mail or things that they can keep a value. So this is what this looks like, just FYI. Now let me go back and show you like a zoom of it up close. Okay. So this is the front, and she said that she tried to not make it like really super real estate related, And then here's the inside. And so she does like a little happy spring kind of thing from her. Now I will tell you guys, we did something a little bit different, and you may think about this. For those of you who have teams or you have a team member, we did one that had my picture and my name, and then we switched, and then we put Sarah's face and Sarah's name, and then Josh's face and Josh's name, because if Jenny's mailing to Heather's database, some of them are going to be like, who the heck is, well, that's not a good analogy because you guys know a lot of the same people, but you get the gist. They'd be like, who the heck is Jenny? But really, if they see Heather, then they're like, oh man, there's Heather. She's my realtor. So this one went out, bless her heart, pre-coronavirus. So whenever we got it, I text her. I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish that we were able to go to all these events that are on the right-hand side. But she just has local events. Front Beach Fest, that was their client event that they had. And then Freshen Up Your Home for Spring. Just like really good, honestly, just value for them. And then this was the part I thought was the best. On the back, she runs these referral contests, but then also she said if she doesn't have a contest, she constantly features somebody who gave them a referral or gave them more than one referral, and she gives them a shout out always, because she said that this is kind of like a passive way of saying like, hey, all these other people are sending us referrals, who are you sending to us too? And I really want to show you really fast. So I'm going to, hold on really quick. Let me pull something up and I'll show you this. Actually, I shouldn't have stopped share. Hold on, let me show you this really fast. So, hopefully I can find it. So like we went in and just redid this for the team for, I gotta plug my computer up and I like to do this stuff when I can't sleep. So honestly, I just did this one for myself. Okay, hold on. Let me show you this. So just to give you a couple of different ideas. Okay, so we are doing, because there's not local events right now, you may want to switch that. Well, I mean, there kind of are, but it's not like normally we would put like a concert or something like that on there. And obviously that stuff's not happening right now. Okay, so we decided to change it a little bit. Sorry, it's taking a second to load. We decided to change ours up a little bit, and you guys know I love like a good rip off and duplicate. So literally, I just straight ripped off and duplicated her bottom one. Can you guys see that okay? Okay, so I just did like a little thing at the top. We changed it. We have to finish this. This is going out this week, but we changed it and we did your view on the market, because I really want people to see that obviously like homes are still selling fast, prices, blah, 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 at least while we're in it for right now. We did a stay-at-home activity, and we put you guys may have seen this, the COVID-19 2020 time capsule on our website, so they can go and download it and print it out for their kids to do. We had these coloring sheets made, honestly, on Fiverr for $5, and they made coloring sheets and put our logo on there. And then we've been sending them to our clients so that they could print at home for their kids to do. And then I just ripped off and duplicated her same exact thing. But then what we did on the right, we're going to do, until we get back into like having good local events, we're doing small business spotlights of our clients. And so one of our clients owns a hair salon. We have our builder and roofer on there. Another one of our clients owns like a whole wedding deal. She like beautifies people. So we're just going to start spotlighting all of our local people, honestly. And then we did like the referral on the back. I mean, basically I just totally made exactly what hers looks like. And then we did change our front to actually do like something Lexington kind of related, and just put one of our pictures on there. But I mean, it's pretty, honestly, this maybe took me like 2 hours, but the thing is, once we have it once, then the girls will just do the rest of it from there. And I think it's just easy stuff that gives them, let's see, is giving a referral gift not against us, but I'm admittedly not at all an expert in this. Jenny, you should answer that.
I mean, that is a really fine line. You're not supposed to tie any kind of gift directly to, I mean, you could do a referral contest, I think, but as far as saying, thank you, Jason, for sending me this referral, here's a $50 gift card, or here's a flower. I mean, anything of value can't be given to them unless they're licensed. And that's, I think it's crazy, but
it's crazy.
my understanding of it, I think you're better off just doing like a contest.
Yeah, contests are the best way to go. And honestly, when we send stuff, I mean, and don't do what I do. But we just always say, like, with a note, like, we appreciate you being our client so much. Like, I would never specifically say what, like, thank you, Jason, for sending us the Matty Oak family.
Right. I mean, then you could, you can make it a birthday gift or, something like that, but it definitely cannot be tied directly to that.
Yeah. Contests are definitely the best way to go for sure. So I really loved her newsletter. And then this is something else that we also are R&Ding, but this is just to give you an idea, because I actually, like, I save the things that I think are valuable, because I feel like if I kind of think they're valuable, then more than likely our clients will too. And I loved this. Like, we couldn't wait. My sister-in-law and Caitlin were like, oh my gosh, we're going to make Jen's mermaid drink this weekend and see if it's good. But literally just a really good idea. Like, we've been getting all these postcards from her in the mail, and it was just like ingredients, a really cute, preparation picture. And then you'll notice on the back of these that she always has someone sponsor with her. So I'm assuming that whoever this guy is probably paid for half of the postcards. What? Did they pay all of them or half? Oh, Adam coaches her. Adam said that they pay for all the postcards, that she gets the lender, or vendor, or whoever, somebody pays for the postcards. But it's something easy, like, to relate to her. And I just loved how she said, looking for a new summer drink, try this refreshing and eye-catching drink. My family loves it. It's just something that, you're probably like, I'm going to keep this. Actually, embarrassingly enough, I've just, like, had this in my little book that I carry around of my notes and things to do, so I don't forget that I want to make this. So just little things like that, I think, are great ideas. People love that stuff. Ashley, I share this in every single class that I do that has anything to do with this, because I love this so much. But this is one that Ashley's team does. I don't know if you guys still do it, but I know that you used to. And at the end of the year, just like everything that you've done. And honestly, who's to not say that you could not do this every single quarter? It might not be as, what?
We do send it every quarter.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I love that. Great idea. Thank you for sharing. Oh, I see Jillian on too. Yay. So, yeah, I mean, this one looks really impressive, because this was, I assume, the end of the year one. But I think just to let people know, what you've done. And then I love this one of y'all's too. And I just think, like, this always caught my attention. I have this printed and, like, saved in my folder of goodies that I love to save of marketing materials. And I don't know Jillian, did you design these, or Ash? Who designed all this stuff for y'all?
A different company did this one, but I did the house ones.
So good.
For years.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jillian's our go-to for the 36 touch. So if anybody has questions, send them over to her.
Perfect. Yeah. She might get, like, bombarded with emails from this, but I just thought this was.
I can send the samples to anybody if you want to send me your email.
Okay, that'd be awesome. Maybe, actually, you know what, Jillian, maybe you could send them to me, and I'll send them to everybody with the slides.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Awesome. See, this is so great. This is why I love doing this, so we can all share. So I love that this just said these are real numbers, and this is a real house we just sold in Columbus. 10 offers, 65 showings, 10,000 sold over asking price. And I actually thought of this the other day, because Sarah on my team just sold one, and we had either 23 or 33 showings. We had 10 offers, and she sold it either 5,000 or 7,000 over list price. And we're direct mailing to that whole neighborhood right now, every door direct mail, because actually, this is crazy. And I've told some of you guys this, but a neighbor called and said, I saw that how many people, well, and it did look a little nuts, because we only let people stay in for 15 minutes, and she went in and sanitized. So literally, I drove by that day. When I was there for those 2 days, I drove by, and people were literally lined up, like, the whole street was packed with cars, and everybody had their masks on. And they were, like, waiting to go in, and Sarah was, like, coordinating, getting people in and out. But the neighbor called and said, hey, I want to move back. She's an elderly lady. And she said, because of the coronavirus, I want to move back with my kids. They live in West Virginia. I'm going to live with my daughter. And I was just so impressed with that house. And so then Sarah listed her house 3 streets over on Tyler Court. And then same thing with it. Like, it's already pending same day. So who are you telling that story to, and how are you getting that out? And then here's what I touched on earlier. What did almost all of the top 200 of Gary's group in the entire company have in common? And that was 2 things. They told a great story. Like their story that they told of their team blew me away. I feel like I'm a decent storyteller. They were like phenomenal. And then the second thing was they tied it to a give back or to a charity. And almost every single one of them, a lot of them had their own 501c or is that what it's called? I can't think of what it's called. Yeah, 501c3. Yeah. Thanks, Jenny. They, a lot of them had started their own at this point. Others picked a local charity that they just really were passionate about, and that's what they tied it to. But they told that story and they tied it back. And someone actually asked on the Zoom, they said, does that really make a difference? Do your clients really even care? Do they really even know? And Thomas answered, and he said, in the beginning, not as much. But he said, because we've been consistent with it for like, I think they've been doing it for 3 or 4 years now. He said now, like, that's what they're known for. And he said that they're known as a team that gives back to the community, and they give back to their charity. And he just said, it's made the biggest difference in what they do. So I want to share with you just a couple last things really fast, and then if we have any questions. So don't forget that there's a thing called experiential learning. And I want you to think about this not for yourself, but for your clients. So start at the bottom. Then the average human retains 5 to 20% of something when they read it or they hear it. They retain 30% when they actually write it down, which is why I'm like a psycho note taker. If you could see all of this crap around me, all I do is take notes all the time. But then and those are passive learnings, right? So then active learning on the top, when you have a discussion, you retain 50% more. And then when you actually role play or enact something, you retain 80% of it, which is why we've always said at Keller Williams, like, get a script partner and role play with them once or twice a week or 5 days a week or whatever it is that you need, because you retain that so much more when you actually role play or enact something versus if you're just reading scripts. But here's the thing that I want you to think about with this. With everything I've been trying to really think about how to reinvent my team and then how to also share with y'all how to reinvent your businesses, and whether you're an individual or you have a team. Because here's the thing, now that this has happened, and I don't like say this to scare anybody or freak anybody out, this is just a reality. Now that this has happened once, and by this I mean we've had a pandemic and we've seen the government literally shut down our country, the chances and the likelihood of it happening again are pretty high. And that doesn't necessarily mean that it could be coronavirus. It could be another virus. It could be climate. It could be, Gary actually said, it could be terrorist. I mean, there's anything. Now that we've seen the government do this one time, the ends of the meatloaf cutting off have changed, if some of you have heard that story. So it's likely that it could happen again. So the reason why I want to share that with you and tie it back to this is, I love so much that so many of you have already gotten into reinvention mode, and you're having Facebook Lives, and you're doing watch parties on your social media, and you're hosting first-time homebuyer seminars via Zoom, and you're doing all those things because that your clients are not just hearing it or reading it or writing it at that point. They're in a discussion. And you may be even like enacting or role playing how some of this works when someone's buying a house or selling a house, or whatever that looks like. Or you may be interviewing somebody and they're hearing a discussion about what's happening in the market. That's what people retain, right? They retain 50 to 80% more of that when they hear that or when that happens, versus if they're just reading it or hearing it or writing it down. Now, all of them are important. You still need to direct mail. You still need to send your emails. You still need to do those things. But those of you that really want to hit it at a high level, and you want to bulletproof your business as we're in these crazy changes, I would just encourage you to think about some of the other agents that you're seeing that are doing these things, because it's so smart to be able to do that. And then here's the other thing, lastly. If you have not read Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller, this has nothing to do with real estate, and it has everything to do with real estate. So it's not like made for realtors, but it's all about delivering and clarifying a message so that your customers will listen and your clients will listen and they'll relate to you. And you're building and learning how to tell a story and a story brand. And actually, you know, I just, and Toby, you'll probably know who this is, but I talked to an agent yesterday. Was it yesterday? My days run together. Yesterday, who is a realtor, and she's also a radio host, and she hosts like the main city's like radio channel. I think, Toby, correct me if I'm wrong. And so the first thing I said to her was, how are you using that to tell your story to your clients? Like, how are you connecting those two things? Because that is massive, like massive, massive, massive. And she said, well, I really haven't. And I'm like, well, that's okay. But that's like the one thing that I really want her to work on moving forward with her business, because she wants to grow her real estate business. But that's a story to tell, and to be able to connect that. And so I would encourage you, one, order off Amazon, Building a Story Brand, and/or just listen to it on Audible, whatever you can. Go YouTube it, watch it on YouTube. If you don't want to spend money, do whatever you can. But I would have you follow Donald Miller. And then the other thing is, he has a great podcast, and this is the podcast on the right. The left is what the cover of the book looks like. The right is his podcast, Building a Story Brand with Donald Miller. And for those of you who have teams, I would have your ops people read this and listen and follow as well, because everybody needs to know how to clearly tell the message and what that message is, so that your clients and your customers can hear that. But his podcast is great. He interviews people all the time, but he had one that doesn't show on this picture. He just recently did one on like, what did he call it? Reemerging your business after the crisis or something, by telling your great story. It was one of the best podcasts I've listened to in a really long time. So I like to share with you all what I'm listening to that actually is, because we get thrown so much stuff. And Gary Keller actually said, and so I've been implementing this, if I read a book and the first 2 chapters I haven't learned something new, he said, put the book down and don't read the rest of it, because it'll just be a waste of your time. There's something else that you can read that will teach you something. And this one was one I was like, man, I got to finish this whole entire thing. So I would encourage you with that. And then lastly, just remember this quote that I love from Gary Keller. People who push themselves to their limits make peace with their limitations, and they avoid regrets at the end of the day and at the end of their life. They give it their all. It's the difference between being able to say, I'm glad I did, versus I wish that I had. And there's a really, really big difference in that. And so I want to just go back to the very beginning really quickly, because all of us who want to have touch systems, remember the purpose is this. The reason that we want to have these and that we want to get really, really good at them and we want to tell our story is because we want to have a business that our customers create our customers. We don't want to, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to keep like cold calling and trying to find new people all the time. The best ones are when they were referred to us or they were brought to us by our past clients or our sphere of influence. And the only way, because remember, National Association of Realtors says every one of our clients right now can name 3 realtors off the top of their head. Minimum, they at least can name 3 realtors off the top of their head. So in order for you to be number 1, they needed to be touched 33 times. So you can see how Gary's the top 200 agents and 180,000 of Keller Williams across the country or world, I guess, at that point. I think it's everybody. They're touching their people way more than 33 times. And it's showing because it's showing up in their business. So the importance of these touch systems is just so high. And remember, nobody's probably perfect at them. I'm sure even Thomas and Kristen, who I think have one of the best ones I've ever seen, I'm sure that they have times where they miss one or you know, they may forget, and maybe they don't, maybe they're perfect. But the goal is, if you can get a plan and a system down and you're at least starting, because if you had that whole plan and system and you even did 50% of it the first year, you're going to be way further ahead than if you didn't do anything, if you actually did nothing. So just getting the plan and getting the systems. And I continue to hoard all of these things. So I'm happy to email them and share with you guys. I'm actually at home in Lexington. At my office, I have a whole folder, like a manila folder. It's actually turned into 2 now, but it's like all of these things that have been great that I've just hoarded over the years. And so I told Sarah, when I get back, I want to go through and pull out old ones, because remember, everything that worked one time that was maybe old to us now, it's probably going to work again. And direct mail is what everybody is. I mean, they're hitting it hard with their direct mail. So I hope this was helpful. I know we ended a little bit early. Any questions, thoughts, comments, feedback?
Yeah, just a quick comment, Dana.
Yeah, Jen, hey.
Hey, I was looking for a recipe the other day, and I found that I had kept a realtor that we actually didn't end up using, but we were on his database, and I kept so many of his newsletters because they had really good recipes on them.
Yeah.
And that was like his thing with his wife, was they cooked and they went to restaurants, and they would always recommend good restaurants. So
I love that you shared that, Jen, because honestly, that was one of my favorite things that I ever did. Was I always got client, and I just got away from this when I got into leadership, honestly, but I always had clients send us a picture of their best recipe and like their actual recipe that was like their favorite thing that they cooked. And we feature those in our newsletters. And I mean, I cannot tell you how many clients and friends that I have that have like literally cut and saved all of those recipes for forever. And then, excuse me, another thing that you could do that would be really cool that I just thought of now that I'm having a squirrel around recipes. Have y'all seen those cutting boards that you can actually order and like you can put the handwriting of like somebody's Mema's recipe on there and stuff? How cool would it be to do those as gifts for some of your people who actually send you those too? That would be a great touch or gift. But yeah, that's a story of that it worked. I mean, you saved his stuff and you remembered him. So any other questions, thoughts, comments? Okay. Well, I will, let me go and make sure I save the chat, and I will send the slides to everybody who is on here. I think I should have it all. Let me take a picture just in case. And if you guys have any questions, or if there's ever anything that you want to just mastermind around or ideas you want to toss around, let me know. And then I'll keep stalking and hoarding all of these good things when I come across. And then when you see stuff, I'd love to see it too, and we can all share together. And thanks for being on. Miss you guys.
thank you.
Okay. See you later.